want to go back and cover what's being called the miracle in Cleveland. Those 3 women missing for an entire decade, suddenly now back at home tonight on Mother's Day.
Yeah, now the brothers of the kidnapping suspects say they had nothing to do with it and would have turned Ariel Castro in if they knew. We're joined now by former FBI profiler and supervisory special agent Jim Clemente. It's your first time on KTLA,
yes,
by the way.
Thank you for having me.
Gosh, this case is just crazy. Compare it to anything else that you've
Well, I mean, it's Elizabeth Smart, J.C. Dugard, Ben Ownby, and Sean Hornbeck all put together. I mean, to have 4 victims recovered like this is just fantastic.
How do you describe this guy? I know you've talked about the narcissism part of this. Yes. Give us the bottom line. How do you describe Eric?
Well, I think he'd be a narcissistic sadist, sexual sadist, who basically is only concerned about himself. He only thinks about how things are going to, please him.
Right.
And unfortunately for this type of person, what pleases him is causing pain and suffering in others.
How was he not caught after 10 years? I mean, what were these red flags? Why didn't anyone see this?
Well, I think there are a couple things going on here. One is it's sort of like a compliant victimization, and that is after causing pain and suffering and torture to these victims for so long, they get filled with the feeling of guilt and hopelessness and shame, and because of that, they just kind of closed down and surrendered. So they weren't trying to escape because of that. They basically didn't want anybody they knew to see them. So on top of that, the fact that he was able to maintain the secrecy, boarding up windows, putting up tarps in his backyard, but unfortunately, there were some things that people missed, and the police apparently didn't take seriously some reports, if it's true, of naked women walking around in the backyard. Now, that obviously was a red flag, but there was some secrecy going on in his life. He obviously prevented people from going to certain rooms or to coming into his house at all. He must have kept people at a distance. That should have been a red flag for the people who knew him.
He's claiming, I guess, that he was abused somewhat when he was young, but people that he dated and spouses and this stuff, they were throwing up red flags that he was an abuser.
Yes, he was definitely an abuser. He had a violent history. He broke some of his spouse's noses and ribs and so on and so forth. But the fact that he may have been abused has nothing to do with it. The vast majority of people who are sexually victimized don't turn out to be criminals and don't abuse others. Some of them, like myself, actually go out and try to save people for their whole careers.
I just can't stop thinking about these poor women. What is their road to recovery going to be like? How do you recover from something like this?
The fantastic thing is they have a second chance at life. And I think the one wonderful thing is that they have a sense of community with each other. That because of the fact that they went through this together, I'm sure that solidified their relationships. And that's going to be the basis, the foundation for them moving forward, especially for the young girl who was born in captivity.
Well, they kind of put it out of their minds now, and everybody's rallying around them. But now when the trial comes back, they got to go back into a courtroom, and I'm guessing they're going to testify.
Yes, I'm sure they are going to have to
relive the whole thing again.
They will. I'm sure it'll be difficult, but I think with the right kind of therapy and counseling and victim witness protections that they have these days, that I think they should be able to get through it and see justice. I think that's going to be an important part of it.
Yeah. What do you think about the brothers? Do you buy their story that they knew nothing about this?
We heard from them a second ago.
Yes, I was watching that. Well, I can tell you this, that I don't think law enforcement would have gone through the embarrassment of having to let them go unless they had nothing on them. Time will only tell if there's other things hiding there, but you have to give them the benefit of doubt.
Well, the women apparently had told the police that they knew nothing about the brothers.
That's correct. Otherwise,
hard to believe
them in jail. Yeah, it's hard to believe, but the thing is, the reason why people don't see these people is because they're looking for monster predators. They're looking right past the regular guys that are next door to them. Yes, a bus driver. He had friends. He had relationships. He had a job.
Yeah. Jim Clemente.
I'm sure this will be a lifetime movie.
Yeah, no doubt. Probably in the next couple of months. Jim Clemente, we appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for good to see you.
How was your first time at KTLA?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me. I love LA.
But it's still ahead. An iconic eye up in the sky.